9 o'clock morning, everyone, welcome to the county work session. Today is Wednesday, July the 9th, 2025. It's 9 o'clock AM. Is there any public comment? We don't have any public. Anyone online? Not very popular today. So let's move on to discussion. Rebecca and Shauna.
Most of you guys know Shauna, but this is Shauna Holly, and she works with the SNAP Ed program here in Crook County, and she has her program update for you guys.
Yeah, and good morning. I've written some things out. Thank you for having me. Thanks for the opportunity to share with you what OSU Extension Family and Community Health Program in partnership with SNAP Ed is doing to make meaningful differences in the lives of Crook County residents. Family and Community Health and SNAP Ed supports local efforts to improve nutrition, increase physical activity, and reduce food insecurity, especially among our most vulnerable populations. What sets this program apart is the community-centered approach. I work hand in hand with our schools, food pantries, housing authorities, and other local partners such as our health department, the library, to deliver practical, culturally relevant resources where they're needed most in Crook County. For our local government, I want to share, I think this program is a valuable ally for you. In many ways, I work as a connector, bringing together community partners and like-minded community volunteers to support healthier youth and families in our community and strengthen our overall resiliency. Today, I want to share a few ways that FCH and SNAP Ed is supporting Crook County. So I don't know if you all got the handout, but it's up here. This is really just a run through of what I've been up to. I am the only FCH SNAP Ed, I'm the program coordinator, but I don't have any EPA. So I am FCH SNAP Ed for Crook County. In December, attended our annual conference. I'll just pick some highlights. I was on the committee for the RIP plan, the Central Oregon Regional Health Improvement Plan, and we do have the results of that. So I've been building ongoing programming based on Crook County results from that RIP plan. I do a lot of agriculture in the classroom, coming in, sharing with our schools. I'm on HDFFA's Food Security Advisory Committee, which is High Desert Food and Farm Alliance. They do support our food insecure in Crook County quite heavily. So we partner with them throughout the year. Mosaic Medical, we've done some community tables, partnered with them. We've done, I've done walking groups in partnership with Crook County on the Move. We do a huge community garden party that just wrapped up in June. It's planned throughout the year, and there are over 30 partners, and we are a part of that, as well as Master Gardeners through OSU Extension. Let's see here, one of my, I guess, bigger projects that's been going on for a few years, but we've hit some milestones, is Crook County Green Bags. It's been a collaborative effort. It was built from a coalition that I'm a part of, where we are collecting food every other month from neighborhoods in Crook County. And we have in May, we exceeded 5 tons of food collected. That food goes directly to our local food banks, which I was just at St. Vincent de Paul yesterday, and their shelves are very slim to none on the running out of everything. So we actually have our collection date for that this Saturday, and I'm glad to know that food will go right back to them. They'll have full shelves again, as federal funding for some of their food resources is going down. So upcoming, I have a big pipe dream that has kind of started. It's in the works, in the planning stages, for a club that will be ran through the high school, and it includes partnerships with the high school Parks and Rec, OSAA, Little League, and there's other partners like OWA, Oregon Wrestling Association, all of these youth sports. And I could share, I don't have enough time to share what that looks like, but essentially it's a program to allow our middle school and high school students get involved in youth refereeing, which we need at the Parks and Rec district, at the Parks and Rec level, and it'll go all the way up, and then hopefully these kids, it will build their skills. They'll take that on into when they graduate, they go out to the, college or whatnot, they can officiate, they would have the skills they need and, through whichever organization, if it's, OSAA or, Little League or Parks and Rec, to where they can go officiate, make some money as they move on into the world. We're still supporting our local, food programs, a couple of big coalitions, which I listed below, Crook County Sustainable Food Solutions and Crook County Green Bags, and then we are heavily, involved with Crook County on the Move, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. It's a pretty large coalition here in Crook County. And then I put at the bottom there, I reached out to Susie, and it turns out, great minds think alike. There's a few other, organizations in Crook County that are really interested as well as me in putting on some kind of a resource fair for, the locally, or the recently laid off folks up at the mill. So, more to come on that. That's kind of what's been happening and where I'm headed, so, yeah.
So I think you've undersold yourself. When I first became a commissioner and I went to my first food insecurity meeting, there was maybe like 4 women there.
Yeah.
And now when I go, there's gotta be like 30. We have Oregon Department of Human Services, we have Mosaic, we have the high school, Pioneer High School. We've opened up the food pantry now. We have the backpack for the children that don't have food when they go home. We have all the churches there. We have Redemption House there.
Yeah.
We have,
So
oh
the,
my gosh, how many, I
listed-
can't
I
list
didn't know
all.
if I had enough time.
I list the organizations
Yeah.
that come to our food insecurity. It's amazing what you
Well,
brought
some of the
together.
partnerships, let's see, Crook County ODHS, so Department of Human Services, they're one of our main partners, Crook County Library, all the elementary schools, Pioneer High School, the health department, including WIC, just that go to the meetings, United Way of Central Oregon, Cornerstone Community Housing, they oversee all of our, Housing Works apartment complexes here in town, so we push into those complexes and try and assist, whether it's the senior living or the low income families, we push into those apartment complexes and try and help the families there get the resources they need, make healthier meals. St. Vincent de Paul, Our Savior's Lutheran Church, the Chamber of Commerce, Crook County Kids Club, and I will partner with them this summer as well. Council on Aging in Central Oregon, Better Together, Central Oregon, Prineville Seroptimus Senior Center, Age Plus, the Redemption House, High Desert Food and Farm Alliance, Neighbor Impact, Mosaic Community Health. Those folks are all, we've partnered with them really heavily, and then the coalitions were listed on the flyer, but they're all in one way or another part of them, and
The GRX is in there.
GRX, yeah, and so when we're all at the table, these coalitions, they're so impactful because we're all at the table and somebody, for instance, Michelle Jonas from Pioneer High School was like, man, we really have a problem, our kids are hungry. And we had everyone at the table with Crook County Green Bags and some of our coalition work, and we're like, oh my gosh, we collect next week, we'll get your pantry started. So then I went in, worked with her to kind of establish what their pantry would look like. And then we had the food a week later from our Crook County Green Bags. So they're stocked, and now she's doing grant funding we're not supporting that continually, and she found grant funding to keep that pantry stocked specifically for those students, which they have a very high rate of food insecurity and low income, so.
And then the mobile pantry that you have going on Saturdays to the children in the different places. I
Yeah.
can't remember
oh, the
what
Giving
that's
Plate,
called.
Yeah,
The Giving
we
Plate.
partner with the Giving
Because
Plate.
we did
right, put them on here.
Ditto, yes.
Yeah.
You're underselling
Yeah.
yourself.
So
And then we had ladies that had, one lady had tangerines and they were going to waste, and another lady said,
Yes.
oh my God, I could use those tangerines. So just in that afternoon, we had an exchange of tangerines that were used by another group that didn't even know they were there. So you are definitely, and what Shauna does for us is for Crook County. And that's what I really like, is it's not Deschutes, it's not Jefferson. It's the people that we see every day on the
Yes.
street, that we drive by, walk by and see. And that's what I thank you for.
Thank you, and yes,
Tremendously.
I only serve Crook County, so.
Yes, and you serve us well
Thank you.
with very limited resources.
Thank you. And I did bring a couple copies of a calendar that I put out through Extension. And this calendar is flying all over town, and it's a great resource for all of our partners. It shows the food resources in Crook County, so somebody can pick this up and they know where they can go get food pretty much every day of the month, except Mondays are a little dry and Fridays. But, yeah,
And we did
and I'll just
find,
leave those up here.
we did find out through talking to the chamber and stuff and COIC that possibly we're gonna have someone come and work on resumes for the people that are at the mill. And we're probably gonna work on maybe doing food resources. So we're kind of just in the formative of getting together and trying to do something for those people that are losing their jobs. So that's, and again, Shauna is helping to be on the forefront of that. So I commend her again.
Thank you.
Yeah, whatever we can do to keep people that are employed, living in a home, to keep doing both those things, I totally support.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shauna, for
Thank
coming.
you.
And thank you for all the work you do.
Eric, you want to introduce our news
Yes,
teammate, Brian?
we are quite excited to have Brian Lible join us in the county council's office. He is filling John's very big shoes and we're very glad to have him. He has a lot of experience working with Oregon government entities. He comes to us from the Oregon Military Department and he has experience with well, actually sort of an embarrassment of riches, the Oregon Supreme Court and the Federal District Court, if I remember.
Yeah, U.S. Attorney's Office.
The U.S. Attorney's Office, yes, so, he has not yet run Shrinking from the Building in 3 days. And yes, like I said, we're very glad to have him.
Great. Welcome aboard, Brian.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be part of the Crook County team.
Yes, finally, you're here.
Finally.
You didn't
Sorry it
know,
took me so long.
yeah, like I said, I didn't know where you were. I kept asking, when are you coming? When are you getting here? So good to see you.
Oh, Christina, treasurer's report.
Christina, you're not even here to give us the news.
Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
So this report will be familiar to you from last month. These are all of our cash balances and fund balances in cash as of the end of June. So I'm happy to walk through anything. We can answer any questions that you may have. The first page again is just our bank account balances, and then it runs through our pooled cash accounts in the general ledger that foot to those balances. And then the allocation by funds is on the next page. And then we go through our investments, the value of those investments, and our unrealized gain or loss. Keep in mind, we do hold those investments to maturity, just because that results in lower risk and more predictable returns. And then that last page is the interest rates we're receiving on accounts that receive interest. So happy to answer any questions that you have or dig in deeper to anything, but I know not everybody's as excited about numbers as I am.
Good numbers. We're all excited about
They
it.
look great numbers.
Yeah.
You know, you make the numbers easy, Christina. That's what I like about you. You make them easy
Good
to
to hear.
understand. Easy to understand.
That is the aim. So as always, if there's anything you would like adjusted on the report to make it even easier to digest, just let us know.
We would just like more money.
Yeah, well, wouldn't we all?
No, it looks great to me. I don't have any questions.
No, thank you though, Christina, for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Katie. How you doing?
It's me, okay. This is our, 2-year biennial budget, we'll have many iterations throughout the next 2 years, but this is our first IGA with Oregon Health Authority. Not everything is reflected in this iteration because there are several things still, either being hashed out in the legislature or there's pretty significant delays. Even if the federal funds are still there for us, they're delayed getting here because there isn't the staff capacity to process contracts. So several of our program elements within this contract are either a portion of the funding that we anticipate getting after it would be October 1st. So there's several program elements that we'll get the first quarter. We anticipate the remaining funds to come in kind of in line with the federal fiscal year. We do have a couple program elements that funding has been decreased. We are shuffling funding streams and shifting those folks to other allowable funds for at least the first quarter until numbers can increase and funding will increase along with that. We did get a couple of new funding streams. One is around tuberculosis case management. Instead of paying us per case, they give us a lump sum to at least get us started. That's a very resource intensive situation if we have it. And then we have some communicable disease funding that is coming. It used to come into the region through Deschutes County. They've split it out, so each county has funds directly for that. I welcome questions, comments.
There are two questions. So how prevalent is TB? And with the AOC, they did a special thing on syphilis and hepatitis increasing in Oregon, not particularly in Crook County, but in other parts. Did they increase any funding on it? So those are my two kind of questions.
Unfortunately, TB here, we haven't had a TB case since.
I was gonna say, it's usually your Hispanic population that you kind of maybe see it.
Or unhoused, yeah. So I think we had a latent TB case in the jail a while back. So it's definitely something that we're always monitoring, and usually they come to us through the hospital system. But in the instance of a new TB case that is very resource intensive, so this allows us to maintain kind of that minimum trained staff person, that if there is a case, we already have somebody who's trained to do that work.
How often do we do the time test on people? Do we do it regularly or just only in suspected, or how?
So there's, in certain settings, they're required, so, a lot of providers in like the emergency rooms, they're regularly.
So that is. Okay.
Yeah, and there's some, like, I think we do the fire department and a couple others that those are just part of onboarding. In other cases, they've gone in because they're very sick or have signs and symptoms, and then they're tested. With hepatitis and syphilis increases, no, the funding has not increased. But we've been creative in Central Oregon, at least, we've created a regional team of nurses and epidemiologists that track and respond to cases, make sure they're following up with treatment, and we've done contact tracing. So we lean really heavily on a couple of communicable disease nurses in Deschutes County to help us with those. And then we have on site right now, Lana is our communicable disease guru, and there's 3 of us that are cross-trained that provide coverage, because we have to provide 24/7 coverage for communicable disease response. But there's no additional funding.
Okay. Just curiosity. Like I say, they did this whole thing that I sat in on, and actually the Deschutes gal Heather was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure we're back with this one.
Nope.
Very good. Can we just go ahead and go on the consent agenda next week?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I listened to a briefing on NACO on the new bill, and funding's gonna get pretty difficult for several different departments, and coming under and going to the state for more of their participation, and not to rattle on the state, but generally their formula is to trickle it down to the counties, so, and not be stepping up. So, maybe things will turn around, but pretty dismal for SNAP ed and health and rural healthcare, different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion at the state level, well, among local directors in partnership with our state partners of with reduced funding, how are we going to decide what stays with the state? Because there is a certain amount of infrastructure that has to exist there. But it can't be at the same level that it is currently. And so how do we prioritize that local work is happening even with reductions? And there's folks who are really open to that, at least the discussion, and see how it plays out in reality.
Thank you, you do a great job.
Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you, Eric, for this 154-page document that you go over several times a year.
Well, so this one we only read once, thank God. They just. get
The
us-
amendments are a
The
little
amendment,
bit
yes,
shorter.
yes, they aggregate probably to another 150 pages.
All right, we'll move it on for next week.
Okay.
Thank you. Next one. Is you again, Katie.
It's actually
me. I'm Alex. Hi, everybody.
Alex.
Hi, Alex.
I work at the health department with Katie. So last month in June, the Community Health Advisory Council held a public meeting to appoint more members. Currently, the Community Health Advisory Council does not have enough members to meet a quorum according to our bylaws. So the group met according to county policy with a quorum of our currently appointed members, which includes Kimberly Mum, April Fawn, Liddell Harris, and Erica Fickey, as well as the county manager Will. And then there were 3 staff supports, including myself, Mike Casey from Best Care, and Stephanie O'Neill from the health department. The group reviewed 4 applicants, which one was Katie Plum, Hope Porterfield, Devin Nelson Harmon, and Courtney Graysa. And there was unanimous support recommending all of them for consideration by the Board of Commissioners for appointment for the Community Health Advisory Council. So we just need to have them.
Okay,
Great,
finally, huh?
yeah.
It seems like it's been an uphill battle to get all of this done. Thank you for all of your work.
And we have excellent community members that are stepping into these roles. So we're happy.
So is that a full roster now?
That is not a full roster, but it is enough for a quorum that will give us 8 out of 15. So, yes,
Good job.
Very good job. I know this has been difficult.
it's been a pain.
Do you want us to continue advertising to fill?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're still not full.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this can just go on consent agenda, is that okay?
I'll put it in order and we can put it on consent.
Okay. We want to make sure we're doing everything right there.
Tell me about it.
Do you guys already-
Thanks, Eric.
That's why I say, I want to make sure. Cross T's, dot I's.
Thank you, Alex, Katie, appreciate it. Solid waste application,
Okay, looks like.
disposal fee.
So this will be just me. Jackie is unfortunately unable to attend this morning, but she's got important things to handle. So every year we, send out an email to a handful of nonprofits in the area, who typically do apply for this. And so we reach out to them, letting them know it's that time of year. If you want to apply for the tipping fee waiver for the landfill, apply, and they have to also provide a 501c3. This year we received 3 applicants back, which is Best Care, the Senior Center, and Redemption House. They all requested 3,000. It's the most that you can request, and so they always request the most every year. Jackie did provide numbers that I had put in the agenda item request form. Last year, we allocated 1,500 per those who applied last year. She let us know what amount certain ones were using of the year. It's your guys' decision if you want to waive for full 1,500 less, more, completely your call. We will reach back out to the Humane Society thrift store because they are typically also an applicant, but we did not receive their application this year.
Yeah, I think it's good to reach out to them like you're doing and have them. They participate in it.
And Jackie was thinking maybe they just forgot as well. Redemption House was one last year, the same thing kind of happened. And so when they do, if they do want to participate, we'll just bring it back in front of you guys when we hit that stage.
Okay, but
And most of them haven't reached their potential, so I would, recommend that we leave it at the 1,500, and I'm assuming that was maybe what was budgeted.
That's at least what was allocated last year. So if we budgeted from last year, then that would have kind of been in line.
and from your memo here, it seems like seniors would have been additional, but that Republic is picking that up.
Yep, and so there
So
is a
therefore-
slight miscommunication with Republic of letting the landfill folks know that they are dropping off for the senior center. And so Jackie said that the senior center typically does use their full 1,500, even though this number only shows 546. So she is addressing that miscommunication with that side of it, but she said typically the senior center does use their full 1,500. And in previous years, we have had people come back who have gone over 1,500 and asked for an additional waiver.
So is that what we wanna do, or here they said that this, Jackie said it would equate to 1,700 if they did it right? Is that maybe that we waiver and increase the senior center to 2,000, maybe?
I think we should, I know I talked with them recently and they rely on that pretty heavily. And it's not like they have a lot of,
Well, and that's what I'm thinking, I
Yeah.
mean, in that case, do we maybe just go ahead and, because it's saying here in this, did you get this? Yeah, that it's saying that if they would have done it the right way, it would have been 1,700. So if we went ahead and just amended that we did them for 2,000, that would take care of it. And then keep the others at 1,500, because obviously best care at $43. That's not a big deal. Redemption House at 700 isn't a big deal. I don't know what the Humane Society was typically.
And
they're usually pretty high.
I would have to go back to the number and see.
I think they're close to like 1,000.
Yeah,
But
but still, but that would be, so what are your thoughts about doing,
Well,
increasing?
and it doesn't matter, I mean, if 1,700 may not be enough, and they may come back and ask for more, so. My preference is just to leave it at the 15, and if it goes over,
They
come back
come
and
and
ask for more money, and then it's all uniform, it's all the same, and.
Okay.
We can track it, because if we give it 17 and that's not enough, and they come back a lot more, then,
Okay,
I'm open to it.
Yeah, or we can just do the $3,000 and it's not like they're gonna, I mean, you only get so much garbage. It's not they're gonna.
Well, we can, but we don't have that budgeted, I don't think, through our budgeting process, so.
I would recommend you keep it at 1,500.
15,
And then
if
if
they
they
go
want to, if they go
Then
over,
we
they can
would
come back.
come back and ask for an additional. That's what it's been in previous years. at
okay,
least.
then just go ahead and put this on consent agenda at the 1,500 ask, okay.
Across the
I'm
board
fine
for the
with that.
three. Humane Society previously, at least of last year, they used $460 of the 1,500,
So
so.
would we make an amendment, or do we need a motion to add Humane Society onto here because they're not?
We're gonna
Well,
reach
we have
out,
to.
we'll
They
reach
have
out
to.
to them and then there is an application and a requirement process. And so we'll at least reach out to them, and then if they want to go forward with that process, we'll just follow those steps and bring it back later on.
Okay. So as of now, it'd be best care, senior, and redemption.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Consent agenda, please.
For 1,500.
Maybe
Okay,
managers
looks like it's up to Will.
report.
You're gonna be wordy.
Super wordy. One thing, I just wanted to note, that, we're finally at a point where I can announce that we are gonna be moving the whole admin team to the 3rd floor of the courthouse. We're gonna try to get that done by the end of the month. This will allow for some improved departmental efficiencies, so we're not back and forth across the street quite so much. and hopefully lead to some enhanced service delivery across the organization. It also importantly frees up the admin building where the Board of Commissioners and Sarah and Brianna are right now to allow human resources to move into that location, which will allow them to have a more accessible, kind of friendly environment for their operations. So in conjunction with moving admin to the courthouse, we're gonna move human resources over to the admin building.
Now, can I add a side note? So yesterday I took time because I'm going fishing. And I boxed up almost my office and I went through the shredder thing and everything. And this morning, there was a certain commissioner who with a very straight face, when I walked in this morning, only needing to box up one more box, said to me, I hate to tell you that we have decided that we're canceling the move because the courthouse has been condemned. I don't know who that person would be who dashed my proactive motions. I'm just not gonna mention any names, but that was cruel and unjust punishment too for me. Just want you to know I went through emotional, HR, would you take note of my emotional distress this morning that I had to get over very quickly?
Well,
Okay.
hopefully we don't see the red tape out there before.
Okay, yeah, so anyway, just saying. I thought I was gonna have to unbox everything back again. And he was very happy that I fell for it. Okay, well, we're moving on the manager's
Yeah.
report.
No, I just, we're gonna continue to work on a long-range facilities plan. This is kind of a low-cost effort to just try to improve use of our space in the near term. So yeah, just wanted to update everybody on that, and we'll obviously alert everybody here within the organization about that change when it's finalized. But for today, I just wanted to announce that.
Right, will we continue our board meetings in the annex
Yes.
and then our work sessions in this conference room or the annex?
Great question. I actually had a note about that, so thank you for bringing it up. We'll continue to do our meetings exactly where we do them now. So we'll do work sessions here, because HR will be in there. We'll lock the door between their offices in here, and we'll ask people to come in what I call the side door over here for work sessions, and continue to do board meetings in the annex.
Great, thank you, Will.
Oh, I got this one.
Okay. Commissioner updates.
Will and Will wrote the letter. We talked about it and he helped me put together the letter for, to Speaker Johnson and, Congressman Cliff Bentz about our secure rural schools. And so I think we just put that on the consent agenda for next week. Do you think we need to get that signed today?
I don't think so. I did a little research, maybe into last week when I was working on that letter, and I think I've mentioned this before, but this secure rural school funding wasn't included in the reconciliation bill that was just signed into law. But the Senate, prior to the bill passing, did pass a standalone bill specifically focused on secure rural school funding, and that is currently at the House right now. It did not look like any hearings or any conversations were ongoing, so we really just need to push them to move that forward. So I don't think there's any huge time rush. I think it's important that we get the letter out, but I think next week is totally fine.
The only thing I had is there was a lightning strike up behind the ranch in Paulina, and it was up there in the wilderness area on the South Fork area. And it was moving towards, there's a guy up there, Otto Keller, it was moving towards his property, kind of coming, not east, would be a little bit more south. And they had hotshot crews on it, and they felt that they were gonna get around it yesterday. There are wild horses threatened in this, but they had good feelings about it. And on watch duty, it seems like there's nothing. And they put up a BLM incident command post at one of the rodeo grounds. And I haven't heard anything else. And as far as the locals, no one locally is worried about it. So I'm assuming We're still under, okay. And I don't know anything, I did get the watch duty and the evacuation, and the sheriff did about Juniper Canyon. Does anyone know anything more about that?
Yeah, I heard it's completely under control. It was as of like. Say 7 or 8
That
last
was
night.
like a lightning strike and they had some.
Yeah, and then they jumped on top of it and
Okay. And they had air stuff right away on that wilderness up there in Polina, so. That's about it, that's all I know.
Yeah, there were quite a few strikes yesterday.
Yeah, lightning is gonna be a problem here.
I saw a lot of you driving home last night.
And that was predicted, they predicted that, if you remember, they predicted it at AOC County College, and then they predicted it, the fire marshal predicted that these coming months are going to be more electrical activity than normal, so gonna have to be very careful.
Yeah, there's come some weird weather patterns,
Yes.
Texas, New Mexico.
Yes.
That's-
Yeah, actually, this morning I was watching Texas and then New Mexico, and it's just so devastating. And to see these people, this one man was standing on the banks and he said, this was where my house was. And he goes, and I was feeling sorry for myself, and at 11 o'clock last night, I saw a couple. And they were looking for their daughter, and I realized I don't really care about my house. And I thought, could you even imagine, can you even imagine living through that? So I guess us having a few fires are nothing compared to what they're going through.
Okay, that's all that we have. We have an executive session.
I gotta pull my folder, I totally forgot.
Go watch
Because
kids
I was,
videos.
because I was packing. I got distraught that I had to unpack. Hey, I need mental health,
Crook County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session under ORS 1926602E for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions, and ORS 1926602I to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer of the public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. Representatives with news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive staff session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in the executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. Thank you for joining us, folks. Crook County Board of Commissioners will now leave executive session under ORS 1926602E for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions, and ORS 1926602I to review and evaluate the employment-related performances of the chief executive officer of the public body or public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. Representatives of the news media and designated staff were allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience were asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media were specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions were made in the executive sessions. We now have returned to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
So I think on the real estate matter, just a motion to direct staff to proceed as discussed.
So moved.
second.
Motion been made second to direct staff to proceed as discussed. All in favor, any discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Barney, aye.
Probably.
Okay,
I
any other business? Before we adjourn,
make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
motion made second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Barney, aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah, for saving me.
Crook County Board of Commissioners will now leave executive session under ORS 1926602E for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions, and ORS 1926602I to review and evaluate the employment-related performances of the chief executive officer of the public body or public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. Representatives of the news media and designated staff were allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience were asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media were specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions were made in the executive sessions. We now have returned to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
So I think on the real estate matter, just a motion to direct staff to proceed, as discussed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made second to direct staff to proceed as discussed. All in favor, any discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Barney, aye.
Probably.
Okay,
I
any
make,
other business? Before we adjourn,
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
motion made second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Barney, aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah, for saving me.